Hi gang, welcome back to the Unraised Latina. Today's topic is I had a beach day. I figured before the hurricane got here I can get one last minute of sun. But the weather didn't cooperate. I got down there and it was all cloudy. And going to the beach when it's cloudy is like going to your favorite restaurant and ordering your favorite meal and then not having it. So, but it was okay. I still enjoyed the waves. And I brought my book, the Joan book. The Joan book. It was so funny. I mean, there's so much funny. I love it. It's so funny. So I was laughing and drinking my coffee, the sound of waves, and it was wonderful. And then I get this in the mail, People magazine. I didn't even order it, okay, because I'll never be on it. That's why I don't like it. So, I mean, if I was part of their people, I guess I would order it, but somebody ordered it and billed me for it. And it wasn't me. I don't know who did it. But anyway, the Royals, Harry, their private pain, and their fragile reunion. Well, what do you think could be bothering him? Is he just angry because he can't write books about the monarchs and talk shit about them and come back and be welcomed in open arms? Or what part of did he not understand about not being a royal? It's somebody divorcing somebody and going back there and wanting them to love them like family, like they never left. I mean, shit, that's never gonna happen with me and my ex. Let me tell you, once we were divorced, he was pretty much done. I mean, he fucked my friend and and everybody else, and the last thing I want to do is be his friend. Okay, let me tell you. I mean, and it's kind of funny. I actually I pity my ex because he fucked the most. The cuckoo's going on. I probably should change the subject. How did I get here? He fucked the most skankiest chick on the place of the planet. She's like the school teacher, the skanky school teacher. Anyway, she fucked the whole town, okay? She'd fuck anybody, anybody. You want her number? Because I'm sure she'd fuck you. Anyway, and you know what her name is? Oh my God. Nobody has this name, so you guys could find her. Gaylord or something Baudet. The gay toilet. Yeah, that's a great name for a girl. Anyway, yeah, well, she can have my ex. I don't care. I don't need him, Fuck away. If he can. I don't think he can, Anyway, he was having problems when I was with him. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not angry. I'm actually glad because you know what? He did me a favor. He did me a favor. See, people that you think show their true colors after you're gone. And actually, you know what I found? When my mom died and stuff like that, how many real friends I had. It seemed like my mom's whole entire family scrammed. After my mom died, it's like I died too with her. And it's interesting because how people act at your funeral is really how they really are, and so really. And so I don't want anybody coming to my funeral. I probably just have my kids, how my kids are. They're probably just fucking throw me off a cliff or something. Here's mom's ashes. She just wants to be thrown somewhere. That's the Puerto Rican way. Anyway, yes, litter Pinellas County. We can't find any cliffs here. Now, I'm sure my partner will do a nice burial, and I'll be next to him. And if he goes first, I'll have to bury myself on top of him. But, something like that, I know when you get to be my age, you start to talk about that shit, I'm getting up there. I'm almost 60. I mean, you can see the grays. I haven't colored my hair in a month, and they're coming through, terribly, in the front, right up front. Mitt Romney, I'm getting that thing, but I'm getting to the point where I'm going to continue to color until it just becomes so obvious that I'm so fucking old it doesn't matter, that kind of old. But it's something nobody's hated more than he who speaks the truth. And look at that, they're hating on Harry. He's speaking his truth, and God bless him, but yeah, I mean, it's one of those situations you just hope for the best, but I don't know, family is kind of I don't know, when there's money involved and stuff like that, and somebody dies, it's like everybody thinks that they're entitled to what you have. You know, it's like, you know, the kids are next in line. You know, what part do you not understand? You have aunts, uncles, all sorts of weirdos coming out, you know, after stuff. So it makes me realize, like, my circle of friends is very small, very, very small. It's very little, because I feel like, you know, bitches, none of you people are getting shit, okay? My kids, you know, like, you know, it depends. Like, you know what? My moods change from day to day, except for my one son, Carlito, because he can do no wrong, okay? That's it. But the rest of you bitches, no, I'm kidding. I love my kids. I love all of them. The youngest one, she's a liberal. I even love her from afar, very afar, you know. But yeah, I love all my kids. But talking about things like this, you know, in this economy, nobody's going to get shit, okay? Because the government is going to make sure you die broke and poor and without anything. And nobody said that better than a few of our great comedians. Like, you know, I think Joan Rivers was one of the greatest comedians ever. She spoke her truth, and I love that about her, because she was just like 100% brutally honest. I mean, really, the very first time I ever heard transvestite was out of her mouth, you know, and shortly after, like, she just dies suddenly of a freak thing. But you kind of wonder about that. Yeah, I don't like to go conspiracy theory on people, but you know what? I don't trust doctors. I just don't. I'm just going to ask them next time that I go into their life, are you a Republican or a Democrat? Because if you're a Democrat, you're not cutting into me, bitches. Anyway, let's hope that doesn't ever boil down to that. You know, it's like people are people, right? No. Socialists are socialists. They don't care about people. Now, I mean, there used to be a nice group of Democrats, like the Kennedys, you know, Kennedy back in the day in the 60s, you know, Robert, but they got rid of him. They got him out of there, and his brother, he went too. And honestly, they were more conservative as Democrats than the Bush family, believe it or not. Yeah, true story. And you know what? It's very interesting that, like, you know, when people are really good at their jobs and stuff like that, the security is not very good, you know, not good at all. They're not looked upon nicely, like Donald Trump, not looked upon nicely at all, you know, because he actually, like, closed the border up, and he actually gave a shit. This fucking clown that we have in office now, he's not giving two shits about anything. But you know what's really sad is things like, you know, people like die every day of crimes by illegal immigrants, and yet we only talk about it when a police officer is run over by a forklift operator. And it's like, hello, this happens every day to many Americans, and now you're making a big, oh, he was a Mason, he was a good guy, he was a family man. What, if it's not a good guy, that's not a Mason, that's not a family man, not a police officer, their life doesn't matter if they're run over by a forklift driver, you know, a construction worker or whatever. See, the thing is, what we're not understanding is that when you get illegal immigrants working in the chicken factories, working in the restaurants, working wherever, they're illegal. They're not vaccinated like everybody else. They can carry diseases like, you know, unlike everybody else. And basically they're not supposed to be here, okay? And, you know, some of them have some very checkered histories, you know, and, you know, not only like are people trying to survive and work in this country illegally, so there's people that are doing harm and bad things. They're drug trafficking, they're smuggling fentanyl, and they're giving it to our kids, our youth. But I guess until like somebody in Nancy Pelosi's family or in some of these big wigs family die of fentanyl use or poisoning, that won't be addressed, okay? So now we're playing politics here. This is a Republican issue that we speak up about the border, but it's a Democratic issue to save human lives with universal health care. And it's a Republican issue to put a stop to killing babies, but it's a Democrat issue that we are pro-choice. Now, I don't think it's a good choice for the baby involved, but then also I don't believe it's a good choice to bring unwanted kids in the world and abuse the fuck out of them. So, I mean, it's better to die before your 16 weeks is up or whatever at the very earliest stages than to be strung out through life You know, I wish my parents would have aborted me, seriously, you know, because they gave me kind of a shitty life, you know, and they weren't really good parents. So I said it, you know, I should have been an abortion, but they had me, and they were resentful. They were in a horrible marriage where they fought and beat each other up all the time, and it was all because of me. And think about how shitty a kid would feel if that happened to them. Now, I grew up Catholic, and for me, I'm a pro-choice person. I would put my kids through hell in order not to kill them, because, you know, I just think it's better to keep them alive and then, you know, let them live out their lives feeling unwanted. Even the ones that weren't wanted were unwanted. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, you guys. I love you all. You know, I love all my children. But, you know, I think the comedy that I have comes from a dark place. Like a lot of people have comedy. And it comes from a dark place because we've experienced life in a way that, you know, maybe some people don't experience it. You know, I had learning disabilities, and one of them was dyslexia. My mom, you know, was a young teenage mother, and she drank through her whole pregnancy. She smoked through her entire pregnancy. And when you're poor, your dyslexia is not really diagnosed. It's called fetal alcohol syndrome. Like, we don't give a fuck about you syndrome. You're poor, dumb Puerto Rican, and too bad, bitches. But if you're middle class or rich and you're able to afford an accommodation and have a doctor diagnose you correctly, you can buy yourself an accommodation if your kid is stupid and is not dyslexic, and just have a doctor sign off on it. But, you know, and then you get the special accommodations, like he gets to test in a quiet place. He gets to have a few extra minutes, but he still has to perform his jobs and his task at hand, and he still faces a whole lifetime of discrimination regardless. So there is nothing about like free and fair and everybody gets the same whatever, because that's just simply fucked up and not true. And you have Kelsey Handler on the Democratic side telling it brutally honest. We need to have somebody on the conservative side also telling it brutally honest, okay? One of the reasons that I speak out about different things is, you know, we have a friend who says he's a communist, you know, and so I thought, you know, I want to put this to the test, because he orders the paper every day, and I just simply can't afford it, and no, I don't want to waste the paper to buy it because it's a bunch of shit. But I thought, wouldn't it be nice just to kind of, you know, borrow his paper and leave a little note and say, hey, comrade, thanks for the paper. I'll return it promptly when I'm done reading it, bitches. But, you know, he would get probably very pissed off about it. But it's okay that he thinks that we all should pitch in the money for his whatever, right? Whatever. And yet, but it's not okay for somebody to borrow his newspaper and return it and read it first, because we're too poor to have a paper. Now, you know, that analogy, not that I could ever take his paper, so don't come knocking on my door if his paper goes missing. But I'm just putting this out there as an example, okay? So, you know, like, it's so funny. People like that are very wealthy and rich that already made theirs. It's like, oh yeah, we're all for socialism because, you know what, we got ours and you can't have yours. And the people that pay the ultimate price for all this bullshit are the people that are just trying to make their way, the people that are just trying to go out there and buy their groceries, that cannot stand having to pay $5 for a half a gallon of organic milk, which is a bunch of bullshit, okay, when the wage is like $10 an hour. It's not, it doesn't make any fucking sense, okay? I don't understand how people do it. I really don't. And so you have Trump and the housing market going through the roof. Who can afford to pay $400,000 or $500,000 for a fucking average house? That is fucking fucked up. I'm sorry, it is. You know what? I wasn't really happy about that shit. Oh, the stock market's going through the roof. Well, fuck that. It's over, like, inflated, okay? And like his ego. Just saying. Just had to say it. But you know what? Now it's not going the other way. But the houses are still up there. So bitches, drop that shit. Okay? So somebody can have a fucking chance. Really. Because this is unbelievable. Just saying.